Across the last three parts, we close the gap between your Staad model and the real structure, took control of the load path with release and inactive members, and built one floor three different ways to see how much a diaphragm assumption actually matters. Now, the force everyone forgets exists until it snaps something. Torsion. Torsion hides in the most ordinary details. Design models often skip miscellaneous framing, outriggers, parapet support details, bend plates at the slab edges, and equipment supports purely for simplicity. But every one of this is a place where torsion can quietly enter a member whether or not your idealized model ever asks for it. Look at here. One lug-supported vessel. A vessel sitting on the support lugs off to the side of a beam instead of directly over it. Here is the other example. A channel used as an outrigger to carry equipment further out from the main beam line. Here is next a masonry wall bearing eccentrically on a beam. Next, we have this precast double T support. A precast double T resting off center on its support. Four completely everyday details, right? Every single one of them introduce torsion in the supporting member. Good detailing can sometimes eliminate this entirely by lining the load up over the member's shear center. When it cannot be eliminated, it has to be modeled honestly. Now, there are two ways to model torsion in Staad. Here is our example. A steel beam with a channel outrigger, member ends pinned or fixed for torsion, with a load applied at the end of the outrigger that will twist the supporting beam. You can check out this figure. Here we are modeling torsion with member elements. See, this is theoretically correct approach. Model the actual eccentricity using real member elements. Now look at the resulting torsional moment diagram. It is accurate along the entire length of the beam because there genuinely is a node capturing the true geometry. And here is the other way, modeling torsion with built-in loads. See, now compare that against Staad's built-in load application feature, applying the eccentric forces as a concentrated force load under the member force tab. Now the end results match, but since there is no node at the center of the beam in this method, the torsional moment along the length of the beam does not match the theoretical diagram. So here is the practical rule. If you only need end forces or reactions, the built-in load method is fine. But if you need the actual local torsional behavior along the beam, model it with real member elements instead. Now let's discuss about the member release, teaching Staad how your connections really behave. See, by default, if you specify nothing, Staad assumes every member end is fully restrained, capable of transferring full moment and force. See, real connections are rarely built that way. Take a look at this example. See, here is a typical cantilever roof framing bay. The roof girders frame over the top of an interior column, followed by a beam splice detailed to transfer shear through the webs only, with the flanges left unconnected, meaning no moment transfer across that joint. Now let's understand this with analytical model and with release. So instead, MZ is released at that start and end of the simply supported middle girdle segment. The column connection itself is typically designed to transfer shear through end bearing, not enough moment to be called fixed. So MZ or MY is released there too, depending on the column orientation. Now take a look, moment diagram with release assigned. Run it and you can see the columns now correctly show zero moment and exactly matching the real connection behavior on site, not an assumed fixed condition that was never actually fabricated. Now let's discuss column splices. This is the blind spot for every beginners. Take a look at this figure. See, a column splice in a steel wide flange is one of the most commonly overlooked location in an analytical model. Standard column splice details in the AISC code of standard practice exist purely for bearing condition. Size to meet an OSHA requirements of a 300-pound load located at 18 inches from the column face. That is it. They are not detailed for moment shear or uplift resistance. See, in open towers or in high seismic structures, this detail is nowhere near sufficient for the real forces involved. Now, if your Staad model assumes that the splice is fixed for moment and you have told the software your structure has a stiffness that does not exist on site. Now look at this particular example member specification option that we have. See, not every real connection is fully pinned or fully fixed. Staad lets you model that middle ground with a partial moment release available from the general specification tab and under the beam bottom in the release window. Choose the start or end of the member, select partial moment release and either apply the factor to all three moments using MP or assign it individually, commonly just MPZ for the strong excess moment. Let's look at this pipe bridge bend example, and here is exactly why this matters. See, a pipe bridge bend with X bracing below the first tier and a moment connection at the second tier to allow clearance for piping. Now the maximum moment required at that member end is 10.5 foot kips, which is less than half of the full moment capacity of this W10 member being used. Now let's look at the other example, which is fully fixed second tier. Model that second tier as fully fixed, and here is the displacement and rotation you get. Now apply a 50% partial moment release instead, matching what the connection is actually designed to carry, and both the displacement and the joint rotation increases exactly as they should because the real connection is genuinely less stiff than a full fixed assumption. So why bother with any of this? Because if you ignore that real partial stiffness and you go with the default to a fully fixed assumption purely because it is easier to model, you underestimate the drift and displacement, and you can walk straight past a drift limit to your design criteria that was supposed to protect without ever knowing it. Now let's understand the Staad's instability warnings without panicking. And here is the example for one of the warning. See, here is something every Staad user eventually sees and panics about the first time, an instability warning after running the analysis. See, it typically happens because strong and weak axis moments are commonly released at member ends throughout a model, and during analysis very small loads or moments try to distribute through the structures and hit a joint where that exact moment has been completely released. Here is one of the example for your understanding, the graphical display of the instabilities in the post-processing. Staad will actually show you exactly where, usually in the post-processor, in this case flagging my instability, meaning a moment about the global y-axis could not be resisted at that particular joint. And here is the calibration beginners need. See, in general, this does not indicate a real problem or failure in the model as long as an actual load or moment is not required to transfer through that joint. But if you do want to clean up the warning message, a partial moment release factor of 0.999 provides just enough joint stiffness to eliminate the instability without meaningfully changing your real analysis results. So let's connect this entire series back to where we started on a bridge in Minneapolis. That failure did not come from a mysterious unknowable force of nature. It comes from a model in someone's calculation that did not fully capture how the real structure was actually going to behave, how forces truly move through those diagonal members and that connections. Every concept across these four parts, let's say centerline versus real geometry, connection eccentricity, controlling your load path with the releases and inactive members, or choosing the right diaphragm behavior, and honestly modeling torsion and connection stiffness, exist for exactly one reason: to close the gap between the structure on your Staad screen and the structure real people are going to stand inside, drive under and trust with their lives. Staad will always give you an answer. It is fast, precise, and it will never once stop to ask if you gave it the right question. The part is entirely your job. If this made Staad modeling actually click for you, that is exactly what Civil Nirman exists for. Subscribe, stay with me, And in the next series, we move into the gravity loads and how to apply them correctly in Staad, so that everything we built our understanding on today has the right forces sitting on top of it too. I will see you in the next class. Till then, always remember, don't just learn software, learn concepts. Thank you.